And I thought, well, I'm going to write a book and remind parents of this simple fact. The sweetest moments of your childhood are often when you're away from your parents. Right? That's just true. That's not a slam against parents. Not a slam at all. But about 10 years ago, I began asking audiences, what's the sweetest moment of your childhood? Now, I've given away the answer. But think about it for a moment. What's the sweetest moment of your childhood? 11-year-old girl told me she was there with her 2 younger siblings and a cousin, and they'd gotten out into a field, and the grass was so high they were unable to see in all directions. She became de facto the leader of this small group and suddenly responsible for these other children. And that's what came to her mind when I asked what was the sweetest moment of your childhood. For her, it was being in this challenging, a little bit scary situation away from her parents, and to suddenly feel that she was a leader, she was responsible for the other kids, she was big, she was getting them back home. As parents, and I am the father of 2 children, the grandfather of 1, as parents, we are losing the battle to keep our kids away from electronics. I mean, it's just too hard. Partly because we're addicted ourselves, right? How many people have been on a screen more than 5 times today? I'm talking either a cell phone or a computer. But we now know that by age 15, this is according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, the average American child is in front of screens 52 hours a week. I commend it to you. It's the Kaiser Family Foundation, online, their report on children in the media, 52 hours a week. Does that? So if children are ever going to have an experience of themselves in an electronics-free environment, it's likely to be in a camp. There's nowhere else left. Schools, there's just nowhere else left. Schools, I mean, I'm at a school that we're just becoming an iPad school, so everybody's got an iPad in their hand every second. You know, that's their day. Whether that's a good decision, I don't know. Whether it'll improve learning, I don't know. I know that our boys are excited about it at Belmont Hill. But if ever there's going to be a child who has an experience of what it's like to be without electronics, it's likely to be at summer camp. But when I talk with parents about sending children away when they're younger, at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, the fear is always about homesickness, right? And the parent imagines how homesick their child is going to be, how anxious their child is going to be, that he or she didn't make it to a sleepover, 2 years ago, but they're still holding on to that, afraid it might happen. So, anyone on my panel up there, you willing to own up to any one of you have a significant homesickness issue? Nope. That, absolutely. Jacqueline, not me, right? Okay, fair enough. When I read that, oh, who did? Please tell me your name.
Katie.
Katie, how long did significant distress mean? It went on for your entire first session, or?
Yeah.
Was it much of every day?
It was every night.
Every night?
Yeah.
So you had fun during the day, and then the nighttime got really hard.
Yeah.
At the end of the summer, did you want to go back to camp?
Yeah.
Why?
It was fun.
Okay, so when you heard the title of my book, Katie, Homesick and Happy, was that you? Yes. Yeah, I've had so many people come up to me and say, the title of your book, that was me! But parents often don't think that their children can handle the complexity of being both homesick and happy. They want to fix it. Katie, did your parents know you were quite homesick every night?
No.
You didn't write them?
No.
You didn't write them those torturous, I want to go home.
I did.
They outed you, Katie.
No, because you were there, so you're just like, don't do that, stupid.
Oh, you talked her out of writing.
She made me miss things because she was crying, so I had to go comfort her.
Oh, nice. But your friends helped you. Thank you for these stories. It's because the magic of camp. I have a chapter in which I list 10 things. And I realized, just speaking about it, I keep trying to say the most magical thing, the most important thing about camp. And it's hard for me to choose between them. I love having visited 21 camps, including Camp Champions, including Steve's camp. I love the creativity and spontaneity of camp. The fact that everybody's trying to knock themselves out to be funny, to pull a skit together, right? To get a costume, to pull it, right? And what are we sing at lunch? And should we teach the new kid how to do the thing on the table with the cups and the handles, right? Is this not true? Every lunch, right? And the singing and the outbursts of it. I work in schools. I'm devoted to schools. I admire the mission of schools. And I worked in some mighty fine schools. But the spontaneity and often the creative outbursts that you get are hard to come by in school. There's something about the relaxation. A girl just the other day said, it's because you're not being judged, right? One of the most striking things about visiting camps and the way it differed from schools, and I've had a lot of kids tour me around schools, and I've had a lot of kids tour me around camps. And whenever you get toured around camps by kids, they start talking to you about the camp values, camp rules. I've had kids take me to the wall and show me, the plaques with the camp values on it. Now I go to schools, I go to elementary schools where they got Bill Bennett's virtues up and down the hall. It's like wallpaper, nobody notices. But at camp, I've had kids recite the entire list of values to me, and I started to ask kids about that. It was quite striking to me. And what children told me in more or less sophisticated language was that learning the rules of community, living in community and learning the rules was really important to them. And then being in camp, more than in school, made them feel that they were a part of something bigger than themselves. Now how is camp able to do this? Well, you are living in community. You're living 24/7 with people, and you have to get along, and there have to be rules, and kids get it when you can't escape to your families, or when you can't go home and forget how annoying Johnny was or Susie was, but you have to share a cabin with Johnny or Susie that night, and the rules matter to you, and the way kids treat each other is a 24/7 thing, and it makes kids focus on it much more.